All right, folks, welcome back to the Delusional Fan with Geraghty and McCloud. Not only is it an exciting week because football starts this Sunday, and now it's an exciting week because the Cubs are playing fantastically. What else starts this weekend?
I don't know why I did that. But yes, Olympics.
The Olympics in the garbage country of Brazil. So,
Oh my God.
In top five this week, I really wanted to do an Olympic top five. We had Linda, who is one of our fans, a mother of Alex Bruni, by the way.
Oh, beautiful. Hello,
mentioned that she thought we should do an Olympic top five, like great Olympic performances. I thought it was a great idea. They start this weekend. Summer Olympics is probably, I wouldn't say the most watched because everybody's inside when it's cold out watching the winter, but you get better performances, I believe, out of the summer.
Oh, and there's no figure skating.
And there's no figure skating.
Idiot.
So what we're going to do this week is we are going to do the top five Olympic performances in our opinion. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you want to go first or second in this one, bud?
You go first. You probably have more stats and stuff to go off of, and I'm sure we share a lot of them. So.
I have a little bit, and we might share. And I actually did some. I combined. I don't know if.
I'm just not a big fan of the Olympics.
You're not? Are you really?
I've never been. I have like a few things that I watch, and that's like it. And I'm not ever really super.
Like I see a McDonald's Olympic commercial, and I stand up and salute.
Yeah, sure you do. Right.
You know,
the flag over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I actually do get. I'm one of those fake patriotic guys that get
That's
really.
what I
really
mean. I'm not
nuts
gonna
around
fake
the
it.
Olympics.
And that's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a patriot. I love the United States of America. I'm glad I was born here.
Paint me as some communist.
I get insanely patriotic during the Olympics.
Yes,
during the World Cup, things like that. Okay,
yeah.
so we're gonna do this quick though for you, because I do think we're gonna have some similar stuff. But what I did though too is I did combine some together, and I'll explain why I did what I did. So my number five was from 1984, Carl Lewis, and it was one of the more amazing performances because he matched Jesse Owens. Is what he did. So you're talking 4 gold medals, 100 meter, 200 meter, 4x100 meter relay, and oh, by the way, he also long jumped. So he kind of crossed over to a different event.
Round.
With the long jump. Right. And then he ended up going on and winning more gold medals in 88 and in 92 and in 96. He has 9 total gold medals. He is one of the greatest Olympians in American history.
Was he ever busted for anything?
Nothing.
He never was.
That's another thing. Never busted for any drugs. So.
He never was? I thought he was. He was accused then at some point.
Well, everybody was accused.
You're right. Everybody's been accused when you do
never
it
got
that
caught,
good.
Yeah, never got caught doping.
Okay.
So Carl Lewis is my number 5. Fantastic. My number 4 is a personal one. I know you're not going to have this one. And it's only because this was kind of the beginning, not really I guess it's the beginning of my announcing career. Okay. I was watching my brother start his professional fighting career. Wrestling was a big part of that because you really, in the beginning of mixed martial arts in the mid-90s, the guys that won most of the tournaments weren't the big strikers and the karate or the boxing guys. They were the grapplers, the wrestlers, the jiu-jitsu guys. And when, do you remember Rulon Gardner? Remember that name? Rulon Gardner was a farmer who went to the Olympic Games as a Greco-Roman wrestler.
I was going to say, if you say something like...
It's wrestling.
Yeah, I would have no idea.
It's Greco-Roman wrestling. But here's the thing. This is why it was important. He made it to the gold medal final against the guy who was thought to be unbeatable. The reason why? His name was Alexander Karelin.
Oh, sure.
Shut up. Alexander Karelin hadn't been defeated in 13 years.
Okay, that is pretty impressive.
So it is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, sure.
So this farmer nobody, and he really, Rulon Gardner was a nobody. He had really no accolades to speak of before that. Goes to the Olympics in 2000, not only gets the gold medal final, but then has to face a guy who hadn't been beaten in 13 years and won the gold medal.
That's like 3 Olympics.
Yeah, and shut him out too, by the way.
Wow, damn.
So it's a pretty big deal.
Sure.
And then again, it was at the beginning of when really I was heavy into the wrestling, jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, all that stuff. And so watching a guy from the U.S. beat the Russian unbeatable, it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
It got you jacked. That was my number 4. My number 3, I combined 2 together. And it's because there was a childhood thing that goes in with this, and then there's a modern thing I got to watch. So The reason I combined Mark Spitz and Michael Phelps.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Mark Spitz won 7 gold medals in
This is
1972.
your third, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay? The reason Mark Spitz, I put him together in my top 5 is because my father and my mother were Mark Spitz fans. They were swimmers.
Okay.
I was a swimmer.
No shit. Cap and all?
Well, I wasn't a competitive swimmer, I shouldn't say that.
Okay.
But I swam before
But
I
I
could walk.
loved swimming.
I swam before I could walk.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Sure.
So I grew up in the pool. I'm a fish. I still love swimming. I still love everything about it. That's one of my favorite summer events.
Right.
I watch all the swimming events, which then brings us to Michael Phelps, who won 8 gold medals, beating Mark Spitz in 2008.
Yep.
Michael won the 100-meter butterfly, 200-meter butterfly, 200-meter freestyle, 200-meter individual medley, 400-meter individual medley,
The best.
4x100 freestyle relay, 4x200 freestyle relay, and the 4x100 medal relay.
And he was blazing chronic in between. Stud. Just a beast.
Now he's Mr. Big Religion guy, which I'm not okay with, but
Let him have it.
he can do what he wants.
Yeah.
He's competing this year in Brazil, which should be insane because he's going to be the most decorated Olympian in history.
Yes.
So those two together, and the reason I combined them because I mixed a bit of my childhood with what I witnessed, and those two performances because Michael Phelps really built off what Mark Spitz did. I mean, Mark Spitz winning 7 gold medals at 1 Olympics back in the 70s, pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Number 2, and this might be number 1 for a lot of folks. And here's the thing: the only reason it's not number 1 for me is because I barely remember it.
Okay. And I know what it's going to be. It has
The
to
Lake
be.
Placid Olympics, Miracle. Olympics.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I
And because it wasn't for a medal. What they did though is they beat a team they shouldn't have beat, and not only beat a team they shouldn't have beat, they beat a team they really had no business beating.
Not even close.
No.
They shouldn't have even been on the ice with
It
them.
was
Right.
literally sheer adrenaline.
Pros against kids. Yeah.
And the stupid part is, then they actually not only won that game, but then went on to beat Finland to win the gold medal, which they shouldn't have beat Finland either.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those kind of destiny teams.
Like fairy tale.
Yeah.
Sure. It's a
So
miracle.
you grow up with it. We didn't watch that shit live back in the 80s, obviously. That you got to watch tape delay. That's
Yep.
how we saw it in the
Yep.
States. I know my dad watched the game because I remember him doing it. I remember him being kind of okay with it. You know, like, oh, that's awesome. But we were hockey players, but we already knew it happened because it had been on the news wire. But then you watch it, and again, it wasn't for the gold medal because they still had the gold medal to go. It's just crazy they beat the Russians. So
Right.
performance-wise, though,
Well,
it's
there's-
still
you taking the culture of the time and everything that was involved with that as well. Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was. If you were comparing it, let's take a good college football team beating the Patriots. It's really what it was.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, yeah, absolutely.
So
Because Russia
we're-
was the dominant team.
Not
right.
not a single player from that U.S. team was a great pro or a Hall of Fame pro.
Yep.
They never were. There were a few pros on the team, none of them Hall of Famers.
Yep.
And they beat a team full of pros.
Yes.
So it was a huge deal. Now
Absolutely.
I combined my number 1. The same way, very similar. I combined
Okay.
number 3 with Spitz and with Phelps.
It has to be what I'm thinking.
Here's why I did this, and it's because, and I'm, for the people that follow me maybe on Facebook or on social media, I try and stay out of the politics. I really do.
Okay.
But I think that these two events were almost, what happened because of these Olympic events transcended the Olympics.
Okay.
And number 1 was in 1936, Jesse Owens. Of course I wasn't alive for it, but you read about it, you hear about
It's
it.
okay.
And
Yeah.
in 1968, Tommy Smith and John Carlos.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So Jesse Owens goes to fucking Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And gives Hitler what for?
right.
Right?
Yes.
And then
He was a badass.
in
Absolutely.
the middle of the civil rights atrocities that were happening
Mm-hmm.
in the below the Bible Belt in the United States,
Yes.
and then just what had happened with laws and with people, and just us becoming human beings. You have Tommy Smith and John Carlos, who were the gold medalist and the bronze medalist, putting that black glove on
Yes.
and doing their
right. Raising the fist.
raising
yeah.
the fist
Yep.
for Black Power. I combined those two together for that reason because it had far more reaching implications than what those medals actually did for those folks.
Mm-hmm.
That picture of Tommy and John with their fist up is something
It's iconic.
that our great grandkids will see and we'll learn about.
Yes. Yeah, I
Because
agree.
of what it meant. Jesse Owens will go down in the history books as someone who went into hostile territory and not only performed, but I mean, Hitler was down as saying these Olympics will prove that the white race, the Aryan race, is superior.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
He said that. So that's my number 1.
Of course. I dig that. I'm surprised you left off one thing, but
I know you're probably thinking Dream Team. Here's the thing: the Dream Team was such a farce, in my opinion, because I don't think pros should be in the Olympics. But we'll go over that at a different time.
But that's exactly why your number 2 was so great. Is that there were pros and they were playing against college kids. That wouldn't have been as special if they didn't allow pros. And I know what you're referring to. They made that rule right before that Olympics. Yeah. So.
All right, so that's my top 5.
So again, I like it. You had a lot more thought and depth into yours. I'll be honest with you. Again, I'm not a huge Olympics guy, and that doesn't mean that I don't watch them. I pay attention somewhat to the stuff that I like basketball, and I like that they've added some of the extreme sports in the Winter Olympics. But number 5, and just because it was cool to watch, Usain Bolt. We're talking performances.
3 medals or 2?
Yeah, I believe it was 3 medals, but it was he's the fastest human on the planet. It was just crazy to watch when he blew up on the scene, and I actually forget the year Olympics.
Those races weren't that close.
No, they weren't. And again, he's head and shoulders above.
Yeah.
And he's just a freak. And so if we're doing top 5 Olympic performances, fastest human ever, I have to have him on my list.
That was nuts.
Number 4, I threw Jesse Owens on there as well. You just went over it, so I don't go into too much detail. I mean, like you said, just going into that environment to kind of phase all that out and like you said, even throw it in his face, in like Hitler's face. It's impressive and certainly memorable. And he dominated those Olympics. Number 3, so we shared the our top 2 and 3 actually. My number 3 was Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Again. Obviously,
I thought that'd be your number 1. I think I know what your number 1 is, but
you already do. Yes, number 3, Michael Phelps, 8 gold medals in 1 Olympics. Like you said, he'll go down as the most storied, decorated Olympian of all time. But again, if we're basing it on performance-wise, 8 in 1 Olympics is just
stupid numbers,
crazy.
There aren't many other situations in any sport I could think of, other than maybe early 1900s baseball.
Yeah.
Where you had dominance of that factor.
Well, and here's what I remember watching when that was all going down. I remember, dude, swimming's not easy, right?
Swimming might be the most difficult sport I've ever.
So this is and so all I remember watching with him is how easy it looked for him, right?
Well, one of those medals came by 0.01
and again, and that's fine. There's great. Look, they're Olympians for a reason. I'm not saying that he's like perfect, but he made it look easy when you win 8 in a row, or not 8 in a row, but 8 total. It was just
in one sitting.
Right.
Yeah.
Stupid. Number 2.
And all within a 2-week period.
Yeah. Again, if you take everything into account, just the overall performance, to be that dominant in every single race is crazy. The number 2 would be the Miracle on Ice, and again, the more, and I wasn't around for it, but the most memorable U.S. Olympic moment outside of the Dream Team and maybe a Jesse. Would you agree that that's even when you bring up Olympics for the U.S., is that not the most celebrated thing or one of the most celebrated things that we've accomplished?
The reason being
because it's always that we love the underdog.
It was only 2 weeks earlier they played Russia, and Russia smoked them.
Like
right. 8 to 2 or something.
And it's an understatement to say that they didn't deserve to be on the ice with them. They just didn't. They weren't expected or deserving to win that game until they actually did. So I had to have that on the list, and it has to be as high as 2 because of the impact that it had and how memorable it was. Al Michaels and everything. They play that all the time.
Do you believe in miracles?
Yeah, all that goes into it. Had to be on here, and it had to be high for me. And number 1 has to be the Dream Team. Yeah. And look, I was talking to Henriken at work today, and I just threw it off him. What would be your top 5? What would you have in there? And he didn't even have the Dream Team on there, similar to you. Yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, but they were expected to win." That's irrelevant if we're talking top 5 performances. They won on an average of 40 plus points when they throughout that tournament.
Yeah, it was stupid.
I don't care if they were expected to win. They did win, and they did it in Dream Team fashion.
Yeah.
You had 10 Hall of Famers on one team.
10 Hall of Famers and pretty.
And again, I'm getting away from the
and a pretty damn
performance issue.
serviceable pro. Because I don't care. Everybody rips on Leitner.
I know, and we've actually talked a lot about Leitner on this show, but yes, of course, Leitner was deserving to be on that team. Maybe not as much as Shaq, but deserving to be on that team.
He's a better college player than Shaq.
Again, I still think there's
things
that go into that, and it would have been. You and me will fight on this all day.
Yeah.
That I understand why Leitner's on there over Shaq.
Okay, that's all you need to know.
No, but the fact that it could have been 11 out of 11 Hall of Famers on one team it doesn't change the dream team.
Crazy, yes.
But come on, it's Shaq on the dream team.
I understand.
Come on.
But nobody knew what Shaq was going to be then. Same way they didn't know what Leitner was going to be then.
Yeah, but you have an idea.
Everybody thought Leitner was going to be great.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yes, and so we could debate that all day. Right. 11 out of 11 would have made it really cool.
I like it.
It doesn't change anything really because it's still Jordan. It's still Stockton, it's still Malone, it's still Drexler, it's still all these guys on one squad. Johnson, Bird.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's the greatest basketball team ever.
Dude, there's something really special about that team. Yeah. They're really, everybody, when I think when Miami teamed up with LeBron and Wade and Bosh, I feel like everybody called that a dream team, or people are starting to call the Warriors a dream team. There is no dream team, okay? There's only one. It'll never happen again, period.
No.
You look at the team that's playing this year, and they just played their 5 preliminary games.
Still blew.
They won by an average of 43 points, similar to what the Dream Team did. It doesn't matter.
No.
There's nothing that'll ever compare to that.
Yeah.
The globalization of the sport at the time, everything. There's nothing that'll ever compare. It's got to be my number one. Okay,
that was our top 5 Olympic performances. If there's a takeaway from this, I know you're not a huge Olympic fan. I knew it when I wanted to do this topic.
Yeah.
I really do like your top 5.
Cool.
I really do. My takeaway from this would be, what I really loved from this is people that stood up for what they believed in.
Yeah.
That's why my number one was my number one. And
I appreciate you putting that on there too.
Especially in today, please, folks, stand up for what you believe in, no matter what people think of you. So, next up, we are going to have some fun. I'm going to get into a family argument with Brian. I'm going to insert myself into see, Ryan and his family do this weird family text thing where they yell at each other a lot about sports.
Yeah, we do this weird family thing where we communicate with each other. It's super awkward and Yeah,
I don't do that with my family.
So rare.
So I'm going to jump in onto their family debate with me.
Dude, Dream Team, right? Didn't they cover their logos?
Yeah, well, you gotta remember, they were...
just going off standing up for something, right?
That was a joke. Because the Reebok had supplied the Olympic
uniforms. Right.
But
Jordan wasn't having it.
Jordan wasn't having it. I think Drexler wasn't having it.
Just straighten this flag over my shoulder.
Barkley wasn't having it. So they used the Olympic flag as a shield. Get out of here with that.
Stand up for something.
We'll be right back.